The mean is the average number of scores. And this means that I need to add together all of my scores and divide by the total number of scores that have been collected. This is trickier to do when the data is written in a table. We can see straight away that we collected 20 scores in total for the 20 games that the team played. And so to find the average, we need to find the sum of all the scores and divide that by 20. But how do we add together all of the scores without writing them all out in ascending order first? If I do start to write them out in ascending order, I can see from the table I have 2 zeros, I have 4 ones, I have 4 twos, 5 threes, 2 fours, and 3 fives. And if I start to add all of those together, I'd have 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1, and so on. Adding everything together gives me a total of 50. And so now I know the sum of all my scores. And to find the average, I divide that number by 20. But this is a pretty slow way of doing it. But we are just adding the same numbers over and over again, and we know that there is a faster way to do this. We could just multiply the scores together by the number of times that they occurred, or their frequency. So in that case, I would have 0 times 2, I'd have 1 times 4, I'd have 2 times 4, 3 times 5, 4 times 2, and 5 times 3. You can also see that I've added an extra column to my frequency distribution table, and I've called it fx. So what does fx mean? Well, in a frequency distribution table, the scores column is usually called x, and the frequency column is usually called f. And we know that in algebra, putting two letters together tells us to multiply them. So fx means to multiply together our f column and our x column. So let's do that. You can see that it's going to match up with the multiplications that we just performed at the bottom of the screen. So 0 times 2 gives me 0. 1 times 4 gives me 4. 2 times 4, 8. 3 times 5, 15. 4 times 2, 8. 5 times 3, 15. If I add all of these answers together, I get 50, which matches up with the sum of all my scores. So the fx column gives me space to add all of my scores together in a much neater, faster way than writing all of my scores out in ascending order. This means that the fast way to find the mean from a frequency distribution table is to divide the total of your fx column by the total of your frequency column. 50 divided by 20 gives me 2.5.